How to create a budget with school expenses in mind. Once you know what is expected of you as a parent of a public school student, it'll be a lot easier to budget for it. Find out what last year's list was. Contact any specialty classes to find out the fees if you can't get the information from the admin office of the school. You'll need to know everything that your child may need, plus the extras as mentioned before, such as whether your child will be in a band, sports, choir or other activities. Whatever figure you come up with, multiply it by 1.5 so you'll have a buffer, then multiply it by how many kids you'll have in school. Including the above, let's make a list of the potential expenses for your child's public school journey. Activity fees: after school activities, athletic equipment, backpacks, band fees, before, after school child care, books, class fees, clothing, computers, folders, binders, general supplies, homecoming, honor society, instruments, lunch paper, notebooks, pens, pencils, pictures, prom shoes, sport fees, uniforms, college testing, other. These are a lot of fees and expenses that are going to be added to your life once your child is in school. If you have multiple children, it can get out of control. Some schools have caps on costs for multiple children, so please check that out to be sure whether you really need each of your children to buy general supplies or what the cap might be on paying for bus fees. Don't be afraid to ask for discounts. Once you understand the costs, it's time to try to find inexpensive alternatives, free choices, and ways to save out of your already tight budget. Save creatively. There are many creative ways to save money that you may have tried in the past or you have read about. Let's look at a few ways to save money that you probably won't notice during the time, but will notice a lot within a year's time. Change your diet. The Kaiser Institute says that a whole food, plant-based diet is the healthiest diet for humans. It's also inexpensive because you're cutting out animals, dairy, and processed food. You don't need to eat fancy food to be well fed. Beans, rice, and cornbread are a healthy meal. Save your change. Ask everyone to save their change. Set up a big jar so everyone can see it, where everyone just adds their change at the end of the day. You won't really notice that you're saving money. But there can be hundreds of dollars in the jar when it's full, depending on how big it is. Use coupons. You don't have to be a coupon queen to take advantage of saving money with coupons. The key is to only buy items that you'd normally buy instead of using a coupon as an excuse for an extra purchase. Save your raises. If you get a raise, save it. You're already used to living without it, so when you get it, just automatically add it to your savings account each month. When you set up an automatic savings account so that the money comes out before you see it, you'll have better luck saving. Use your bank. Some banks now have a roundup program where when you use their debit card for purchases, they automatically round up the purchase amount and put the difference into a savings account. Ask grandparents. Instead of normal gifts, ask your parents if they'd contribute to a school fund. Offer to send statements when money is taken from the school fund so that they know what the money is being used on. Have a garage sale. Everyone has too much stuff. If you can get rid of some of your stuff, you can make money. If you've not used it in a year, even your most beloved kitchen appliances that you never use should go. You can make thousands at a garage sale. Do odd jobs. If you really do not have any money to save, consider taking on odd jobs. You can do nighttime childcare if you get licensed. You can also work online as a writer, a virtual assistant, graphic designer, or other gigs that will bring in extra money. In some cases, teenagers with parental approval to open the right accounts can even join in with this idea. Check out Fiverr.com. Let your teenager work. Many parents are reluctant to let their teens work. However, studies show that if teenagers work at least 19 hours a week, they do better in school and in life in general. Plus, they'll receive a better financial education than anyone can give them if you also make them responsible for a good portion of their expenses. Brown bag it. School lunches aren't that great and can be expensive for what you get, and you know that going out to eat at work is both expensive and unhealthy. You can save $10 to $20 or even more a day by brown bagging it, depending on how many people in your home are involved. Give up Starbucks. Don't pay for coffee out, because that $6 a day can truly add up. Encourage your older children not to do it either. If both parents have one coffee a day only on work days, they will spend more than $3,000 a year. 5 workdays a week times 50 weeks, 2 for vacation x $12 equals $3,000. As you can see, you can do so much to save money, from having a family fun night at home, to cutting out cable TV, to planning fun staycations. It will depend on your school and how many kids you have, as well as your current financial situation, to how far you'll need to go to fund your child's school year. Let's now talk about some expenses that you're going to experience that cost more than you may think. The real cost of extracurricular activities. One cost that you may or may not have considered prior to reading this report is the cost of extracurricular activities directly connected to the school. There are activities involving sports, the arts, music, science, math and more. Your costs will depend on what your child is involved in. Even being in the National Honor Society costs money. Pretty much everything your child does in school will come with a fee attached, so you need to be prepared. Your child doesn't need to do it all. Many parents start worrying about college the moment their child goes to kindergarten. It is a normal thing to be concerned about your child's future. You want to introduce to them all sorts of activities to figure out what they excel in and what they enjoy doing. But all of it comes with a price attached. Pick 1 or 2 activities. Keep in mind that your child does not need to do everything. Try to pick 1 or 2 major activities and stick to that. There are many costs to consider, such as transportation costs, traveling expenses, clothing, shoes, instruments, extra lessons and more for each activity, including the fee. Watch your child's stress level. While a well-rounded child is great for a college application, if your child is too stressed out, they're not going to do as well at school. If they're in too many activities, they will be tired, not have enough time to study, and never have any alone time. You may not realize it, but it's very important for your child to have quiet time to think and just be. Do they really love it? Another factor to consider about your child doing any activity that is supposed to be good for them is whether they really love it or not. Extracurricular activities teach something to your child, but the lesson will be lost if they don't really enjoy it at all. Why should they keep doing something they're not that good at and don't like? They tried it and didn't like it. That's okay. It's okay to decide to try something else next year. What's the point? Why do you have your child in an extracurricular activity? Is it something they asked you if they could join? Is it something your entire family has always been involved in and you just automatically signed them up from habit? Show your child choices and let them decide which extracurricular activities they want to do. Understand that the point is to try things, not to make a lifelong choice at 6 or even at 14. The days of overworked and overscheduled kids are over. Plus, it doesn't really help them get into college. What helps them get into college is good grades, good test scores, and the financial means to attend. Sports and band costs. This needs its own topic because it's amazing how much it can cost to be involved in school sports or the band. You may have the belief that it's illegal for schools to implement a pay-to-play fee, but in most cases, it's not illegal and the fees can be quite high sometimes. Often they are couched in terms that bring guilt for parents too, such as fair share program. While it varies from school to school, let's look at some examples. Huntsville High School in Alabama, their website reports that costs are $500 for a first-year band student in 9th grade, with a sibling paying $200 for the year. As you can see, this is quite a lot of money for some parents, and is paid whether you have your own instrument or not. If you don't have an instrument, you'll have to rent one or buy one. Link https://www.eteams.com/Huntsville High School band/news/index.cfm ?CAT equals 8795543 Coronado Thunderbird Band X Paso TX. Their website shows that due to the requirement to go on trips, students have to pay on average about $200 a month to be in the band and fully participate. Link http://www.tbirdband.org/cheering is even worse. According to omnicheer.com, a website that covers all things cheering, the costs to be a cheerleader are piling up even for high schoolers. The total can end up more than $1,500 a year for a cheerleader in high school. Link http://www.omnicheer.com/blog/post/the-cost-of-cheer football in high school. Most people report spending between $500 and $1,000 a year for their child to be on a football team. It can get even more expensive for a winning team, due to needing to pay for travel and hotels. Basketball in high school, this is about the same as football and growing. The costs of uniforms, shoes, practice camps, travel and more can get quite expensive for everyone involved. Keep in mind that the cost parents pay is just a portion of the total cost, but some parents cannot afford it. Even being on the robotics team, math team or other less physical endeavors is very expensive depending on the district you are part of. The best thing you can do is ask other parents about it, ask the school about it, and be prepared for the additional costs if you want your child involved in that extracurricular activity. Before and after school care, this is a dilemma many working parents end up having. In addition to the extra expenses at school, now you must figure out how to get them there in the morning and get them home in the evening. Plus, what to do with them in between. It's likely you were a latchkey kid, but today, being a latchkey kid is not really something that is done as much. It's not as safe as we thought, and in some states, it's illegal. So, until your child is of an age to stay home legally, they should not be a latchkey kid. And keep in mind that the National SAFE-KIDS campaign recommends that children not be left alone at home under the age of 12. When you're looking at before and after school childcare, some areas have many options while others have very few. As much as the options vary, so does the cost. You can expect to spend between $50 and $250 a week depending on your area, transportation needs, and the age of your child. One thing some parents are doing is using their PTO, paid time off, creatively. A group of parents who would normally share carpooling before everyone had to work, gets together and forms a carpool plus before and after child care alliance. This involves parents taking time from work, using their flex time, or simply asking their boss if it is flexible to change working times just one day a week. This will work if every parent has a vehicle that will carry 5 kids. The kids end up at someone else's home each day of the week, but it can be a lifesaver for budget-minded parents. Finding before and after school care. It can be hard to find the right before and after childcare, but there are things in place in most communities. You can check out the Boys and Girls Club of America for some innovative situations that are inexpensive options for school-age children. But there are other options as well. Grandparents. If you are lucky enough to have grandparents who live in the area and aren't working, then just ask them. You may be surprised that they'll be happy to provide before and after childcare. You can drop the kids off at grandma's house before you go to work and pick them up at grandma's after work. Some grandparents will be happy to bring the kids to their home after work, and even drive them around to their extracurricular activities. If you have 4 grandparents available, that's even better because hardly anyone has to do it 2 days a week. Neighbors. Are there any neighbors who would be willing to provide before and after childcare for your children? This is a consideration only if you truly know the neighbors, though. There isn't a stay-at-home mom alive who hasn't been asked by someone to watch a sick kid or perform some errand, as if they have nothing better to do. So be polite, ask people who are your friends, and understand if they don't want to do it. College student. If you have a college nearby, there are probably opportunities for you to hire someone from college to deal with the before and after school care and activity driving. Most colleges have a job board where you can list your job for the help. Be sure to list all your requirements and what it pays. If you have an extra room in your home, you can even offer room and board in lieu of payment, if it's legal where you live. Friends. Often friends want to help but they don't want to interfere. Therefore, ask any friends that you know are not normally busy during that time. You might find one friend who can handle mornings and one that can handle afternoons. This can work great with the right friend and situation. Barter. You may also know people who need things done that you or your partner or kids can do for them without them needing to pay anyone. Think about these things and then present your friend or acquaintance with the idea. For example, if your church offers an after-school program but you cannot afford it, ask if you can clean the church in exchange, or perform some other duty that will help pay for it. Child care centers. You may not have considered it, but a lot of child care centers offer before and after school programs for kids. They can be pricey sometimes, but often the peace of mind is worth it if you can afford it. Like daycare, before and after care can also qualify for tax credits. Also, some centers charge on a sliding scale based on your income. Finding before and after care can be expensive and time-consuming, as well as stressful. But if you start early, you'll find it. If your child is already in daycare, do ask them, because even if they don't offer it, they may know people who do. Tips to save money on back-to-school supplies. So you have your list and you're ready to go shopping for back-to-school supplies. Even though it's stressful, back-to-school time is an exciting time for kids and parents alike. With the right attitude, your kids will be happy to go back to school and you'll feel as if you've done the right thing with the supplies you send them with. Set a realistic budget. The first thing to do is set a realistic budget. The budget should be based on what the school says your child needs, plus allow a few items that your child wants. Keep in mind that you should avoid buying just what your child wants for materials for school, because the school may not even allow your child to use them. Save once for clothing and extras. Also, make sure that clothing, hairstyles and makeup for older kids meet your school's dress code. Organize what you have before stepping out the door to shop. Find out what your child already has that will still work from last year. Also, what will work for your younger child that your older child has already used. Don't overlook friends and family with older kids as a good resource for hand-me-downs. Go to garage sales and thrift stores. Don't overlook these places to get name-brand items that your kids will like. You don't have to take them with you or ever tell them you went to a garage sale or thrift store. However, it is good family money management, along with good environmental practice, to avoid buying new unless you must. Don't forget the dollar store. Don't overlook the dollar store for good supplies. They have name-brand items often, but don't always assume they're cheaper. A few pennies can make a difference. Use an app like RetailMe not to ensure that you're buying the cheapest. Buy on tax holidays. Most communities have a special no-tax date for shopping for school supplies. This is a great time to get those last-minute items, but usually, it's so close to the first day of school that you don't want to wait that long to find sales. Use coupons. You can often get coupons by following your favorite companies on social media, especially Twitter. They send out coupons all the time. Plus, your local Sunday paper, magazines, and stores have coupons too during special times. Shop in bulk. When you see a sale and you know it's a good one of something that doesn't expire, like notebooks, pens, paper, pencils and so forth, if you have the extra money to do so, buy it up and store it someplace where you can easily get to it for next year. Watch for sales. Throughout the year, keep in mind what you're going to need in the future and watch for sales on those items. The more often you can buy things when it's planned, the less hit you'll take on your budget. Needs over wants. One thing to learn and to teach children during this process is that needs are more important than wants. Wants are awesome and should be encouraged because it helps with creativity. But when the money is tight, the wants should be put aside to cover the needs. There is nothing wrong with that, because we must all think of people who can't even meet their needs. If we are meeting our needs, we're the lucky ones. Using these ideas to stick to your budget to help with financing your child's school year will not only help your child with school, but it'll also help you as a family learn to save more, think before buying, and probably create a smaller footprint on the environment without even thinking about it. It'll all become second nature. How to get free supplies for your school. There are many ways to get free things for your school and for your child. But, if you start with looking after the whole student body and not just your own child, there are a lot of things that can be done to help with general school supplies and filled backpacks. Let's look at a few ideas. Start a box top club. Box Tops for Education. http://www.boxtops4education.com/closing parenthesis is a wonderful way to get basically free money for your school. What's more, so many box tops are just thrown away each day and not turned in for funding, so the opportunity is large. You can learn how one senior in high school did this in this news report from 2012, http://whnt.com/2012/05/22/huntsville-students-raise-money-awareness- with box-tops. It's shocking how much a school can earn with a good box tops program. Organize a school supply drive. A great way to help your child's school and not take much out of your own pocket is to have a school supply drive. List the things your school needs, and then pick a date and place to collect them. If you make sure to get the word out via local media and social media, you may save everyone money. Start an online club. Everyone is on Facebook these days. You can easily start a Facebook group that is designed to help fill the backpacks of all the kids in your child's school, not just your own. You can even create a video and make it go viral so that more people want to donate to the cause. They can even donate right through Facebook if you set it up correctly. Look at other online groups. Freecycle.org is a great place to seek school supplies. You can post a request for your area and people will voluntarily give away their stuff if you pick it up. People give away useful things all the time via Freecycle, from paper to art supplies to costumes, it's all there. Check with churches. If not your own church, other churches may have programs in place to help the less fortunate. Get on the phone and call them one by one, and you're sure to find one that it is willing to help you or help others too. If nothing else, they may be able to point you in the right direction. Involve the senior center. Many seniors that like to go to the senior center have resources to help people if only they were asked. A lot of them like to help children learn to read. If you let them know about the issue with some kids needing supplies, they may start a program for their local schools. Check out backpack programs. There are a few backpack programs that offer free backpacks with supplies in them. How effective these are depends on if they use the list your school uses to fill the backpacks. You can start a program yourself, even if your child is not the one in need. There are certainly others. The school district, it may not be announced anyplace, but in some cases for children who are on the free lunch program or who are at a certain level of poverty, the school district must supply the items that the family cannot. So, check with them about their rules and regulations. There are many ways to find help for school supplies without breaking the bank. Just keep your eyes open for resources, and don't be afraid to ask when you need something. The school counselor is also a good resource for information about what is already happening in your community. It's always better to go into any new situation full of information and knowledge, the knowledge that you will need to finance a good portion of your child's public education yourself if you want them to be involved, have the supplies they need and get the education you want them to have. You can do that by researching the situation where you live and being prepared for the costs in advance through creativity, smart planning, and budgeting.